Test blow. Test blow. Test blow.
Hello, we are Hexabrot and you're listening to Death Blow Podcast.
Hello wonderful people and welcome to another episode of Death Blow Podcast. Subscribe, like and share my videos and click on the bell to be notified with new episodes. Spotify and Apple Podcast for the audio version and Instagram, Facebook and TikTok to be updated with more news. Today I present you a new band from my country, Italy. They are called Hexabrot, a particular name, isn't it? And right now, let's discover more about them in this interview. Hello guys, I present myself. This is me, Darkel, and this is Death Blow Podcast. Welcome to this channel.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so how is it going, guys?
It's going good. We are here in our rehearsal room.
It's pretty busy.
Yeah.
Yes.
We are in a pretty busy
Environment.
and schedule also.
Yes.
The last two members of the band just joined, so we just arrived. We are all here.
Yeah, so I was curious about your band, Hexabrot. I'm very curious about this name. So, first of all, I would like that you guys introduce yourself about the history of your band and what does it mean, the name Hexabrot.
Okay, so
let's first introduce ourselves. So
yeah,
right?
I'm Samuele, one of the two guitarists and the producer of the band. We have.
I'm Gael, bass player and also some keyboard playing on the record.
I'm Nicola, I'm the vocalist.
And we also have Mattia, drummer, and Paolo,
Hi there.
the other guitarist. So actually, the history of the band is actually pretty recent. In December of 2023, me and Paolo met up because he had a bunch of demos of some very raw songs that he wanted to produce, but with the idea of creating a new band. And I was very excited about it because I was missing an original project. I always played in like bands, like cover bands. So I was very excited about it. So basically, we started the project with some song already written. And we found members based on what we needed around those songs.
Yeah, which are the songs that you will listen to in the Ep, which is coming out on the 7th of March.
Exactly, we chose 5 songs that we proposed to many people, and we ended up with the current lineup. We first. Mattia was the first one of joining me and Paolo, which is the drummer which I knew for a long time for one of my another projects. Mattia introduced us to Gael.
Yes.
And then on the internet, actually, we found Nicola. And so in like a couple of months, we started because everything was getting into places, so the band started firstly remote because
and this is connected to the name of the band.
Yeah, because Gael is the one who came up with the name, so you can explain how it happened.
Please.
Yeah, because when they contacted me for joining the band, I was also very happy to start something original, which I was missing and I was looking for actually. But I was living in Munich because I was doing my PhD there. And I knew that I would finish on the last fall so that I could then come back to Turin and join the band. And so Mattia contacted me saying, look, we are starting a band now. we can work remotely for the first few months. So we record the stuff and then we start rehearsing from September and so on. So this was the plan. And then while looking for the singer, so the last member, and we were also looking for a name. So Paolo, which he asked me for looking for a name made it by a single word. And also they were fascinated a bit by the concept of physics, maths, and all these science topics. And a name related to that could have been possibly good for the band. And so it was beginning of May, I was at a conference for the PhD, and the professor gave a talk and introduced the Mandelbrot set, which is actually a very famous fractal in math. And the concept fascinated me because it has virtually infinite arising complexity. Like you can zoom into it and find new structures over and over and reach something which is like, you could compare it to the vastness of the universe, and you could even zoom in again and again. And it was a cool concept. I proposed it to the band, and we didn't, maybe we were not convinced by the name Mandelbrot. And then I did some further research, and I've seen that this can be generalized. So you can have many fractals coming from the same sort of formula, but changing the exponent in this formula. And so we found that Hexabrot was kind of the name that we were looking for, and also the picture, which has this kind of pentagon form, so also inherent to metal, usual, type of brand, let's say. But yeah, that's the story.
Yeah.
Wow. And you are coming out with the first EP entitled The Order of Things. What can you tell me about this album, guys?
So I believe that we could say that this EP is trying to is revolving around some of the basic concepts that we find inherent into the humans, but also not only, because to be honest, our first single, which is Lullaby of the Descent, is actually the story, the history of Lucifer, but it's just in a very mythological way, we could say, not very religious at all.
Yeah, even metaphorical. I would say.
Metaphorical.
You could apply it to also other things.
Yeah. Then we have one of the songs, which is Eta. It's about the evil and the structures of the evil.
In human nature.
Yeah, we could say the phenomenology. I guess it's a word of the hate. Then we have one of the song, which is the ballad, which was wrote. I would say that is a ballad. I don't know.
It's the ballad of the EP. Let's say.
Which is Opalite. It's about a relationship between a mother and a very problematic son. So we do not like to touch the topic that are very common to the metal genre, although some of them are, of course, the very basics and very present. But we like to explore more into the nature of the human being.
Yeah.
I like the themes that you are dealing into this record. Exploring more, I see pain, remorse, ambition, and failure. Very popular to maybe the major part of humans. Why, according to you?
Well, they are probably intrinsic to the human nature. Not only human nature, probably all of the being.
Actually, I think history teaches us that.
Yeah, and also I believe that also like the human being is always on its path to moving to something else, which is actually sometimes out of our reach. And therefore, it also can generate into the person some kind of feeling of discomfort, heaviness, and something like this. It's like you go towards something that you already know into your into your inner eye that it is something that you cannot reach, actually. So it may be also our economics, I don't know, it's like the complete situation in which we live that I believe leads all of us towards this feeling of unsatisfaction. I don't know if that's this word exists. But yeah.
Dissatisfaction.
I don't know.
Okay.
And what inspired you guys to write this album? What was the main idea behind this work?
Well,
Maybe Paolo wants to comment.
It was mostly Paolo's
Because-
instrumentals.
Hi there, I joined your chat. So basically, as the guys said you before, we had a bunch of early demos, songs that were kind of inspired from the melodic death metal kind of vibes. So we go back to the 20s years. So the main idea behind the project was to give some life back to those musical vibes, but in a kind of new way. Because I believe, although I'm a very huge fan of groups like Dark Tranquility, In Flames, and so on, I think that they had like the best moment back in time. So it was kind of a challenge to try to repropose those musical vibes, but in a new way. And all of us have a lot of different musical influences. So I think it's coming something quite new in the scene, and so that's basically the main idea behind the project.
How did you record this EP? What about the arrangements? What about the studio work? What can you tell me more about this?
So basically, those early raw demos were kind of written on in a home setup, and then just to give the main idea to the other guys, and then all of the other members wrote their lines. For example, bass lines, all the vocals. The drums were rewritten by, of course, a drummer, and then we brought all the material to a proper studio where Samuele took care of all the production in a refined and professional way.
Yeah.
So we kind of we work with DAW. We are used to write our own material, and so then we share ideas. So it's quite productive as a working process.
Yeah.
While I was listening the EP, I perceived even a bit of progressive influences with the keyboard and other instruments. Is it true?
Yeah, so I would say, I think we all agree, yes, there are definitely prog influences in the EP, which is our first work together. This is mainly because probably of Mattia on the drums and partly on me on bass, because I mean, me and Mattia knew each other before, mainly because of progressive music, because we like that kind of music. We listen to that kind of music a lot in all of its forms, even jazz or whatever. And so, of course, the drumming by Mattia is very progressive oriented in many of its aspects, I would say. And for the rest, Paolo had written many synth lines, which are, I would say, also kind of new and give a vibe. Maybe this is the vibe that you heard about progressive. in the EP, I think it's just a little touch. One would not define the music properly progressive, of course, but I think you can foresee that many people in the band like that type of music. Also, Paolo, for example, he didn't explicitly want to write progressive songs, but his structures are often not completely linear, let's say, and standard, but he's usually mixing things up and so on. So this is also a sort of the progressive ear that kicks in, I would say.
What about the artwork? What about instead the cover art and graphically speaking? What can you tell me about?
So, hi, I'm Matt, the drummer. Occhio. Sorry. So basically the artwork was something we actually had the idea from the start, basically, which is our logo with the colors, one color for each song. And we planned everything around this concept. Even our photos, if you take a look at our photos, you can see that there are color accents going on in each one of us. So each one of us is kind of one song. The concept is like something that is abstract and human, like, you know, a color accent or a paintbrush in the case of the album cover, inside something structured and rigorous as is the fractal. So that's the whole concept of the EP, and it was greatly complemented by the single artworks, which we commissioned to a tattoo artist named Paola.
Yes.
Which she was great. She did some amazing work for us, and those were kind of more inspired by some of the more melodic death metal artists, which we take inspiration from, mainly Dark Tranquillity. If you check out their last cover arts and stuff, that kind of style worked perfectly with the song. So we are greatly, humbled to work with this artist, and we're really proud of what came about. Yeah,
Definitely.
It's one of the strongest assets of our operation. So yeah, that's what's behind the artwork and stuff.
Italy is a very difficult country for metal. I'm Italian myself, and except the north of Italy, where there are more venues, it's very hard to find bands that play. Do you agree?
Well, so actually, I'm quite involved in the live scene in northern Italy because I am a sound engineer myself, and I do I do quite often work in live events. Metal is actually, I think, constrained, I can say, like in some very specific venues. Mm-hmm. But luckily in Turin there are many places that allow us to play metal, but it is very hard to get into them because there are a lot of bands and not that much time and space to play live.
And even public, I would say.
And
probably
even
like
public, exactly. Actually, I think there's a very strong metal community, especially for live events, but it is very difficult to get it to like on the mainstream side of events.
Absolutely.
So it's a lot of underground stuff. Mostly.
Yes.
If you want to start an actual metal concert, like for In Flames, Dark Tranquillity, Metallica, etc., you need to go like to Milan.
Yeah.
No major bands comes to Turin.
Yeah. In Torino, we're lucky in a way because it's close by.
Yeah.
But for example, I'm from Abruzzo, which is like center southern. So every time people need to get a train and book a whole
I'm
day
from
or
Abruzzo
two
too, so I understand.
a posto. And so yeah, that's the thing. Much of the scene is concentrated in northern Italy, and we can work with that for sure. But it has its limits for sure.
Yeah.
Are you writing, guys, new material?
Yes.
Of course, yes. We are. we are actually planning an upcoming album after the EP, which is more prog influenced than the last one. So the sound is kinda evolved, I would say, but
it has many influences, also others than prog, even thrash metal,
some groove stuff, some more death metal stuff. So actually, it will come, but it will be a long process because we just started and the EP is not even released yet. So
it's all written. Basically, it needs to be recorded.
Yes, exactly.
That's gonna take as much time as
we want to take the time to do it carefully and to have a good product to
let you listen. If you come to our live shows, we will play some of the stuff of the new album.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
and as time goes on, we'll add more to the set list. So,
how did you discover that music was really important for your life, guys?
Yeah, for example, for me, it wasn't like a straight line into metal music. Into metal vocals. At the very beginning, I started as a singer into a choir as a bass, and then after 4 or 5 years, I sort of wanted to have some kind of other project and start something new. Also for my life at that point, I was very unsatisfied with what I was doing, and therefore I decided to put my effort into something new, which was we could say harsh vocals. And for me, it was very demanding, money-wise speaking, but also emotionally speaking. And now I feel that I found the place where I wanted to be for so long that I almost forgot it. Because I always had the passion for metal music, but actually some years ago there was not enough material online, or I could not afford it, basically. And then when I grew up, I found out that the situation was changing, and also online you could have access to a lot of materials. And then found my vocal coaches, and I feel that my life changed for the best, because I feel like I am where I wanted to be. This is the impact that this that this band and the music had with me. I don't know if the others, how they want to.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that music is a fundamental part of our life.
Yeah, probably the most important.
I work with music, so for me it's not only personal but also professional. But also for the other members, it's
absolutely, the most important part of my life. Probably I started listening actively to music probably when I was 12, 13, by just listening to all kind of music that my parents were giving to me, always with curiosity. So I think this is the most important thing that make you in the end an active listener, which nowadays are lacking somehow.
Do you think that exists an order of things where you have the power to choose, or there is another force that controls everything? This is a more philosophical question.
The concept creator.
I try to give my best answer. So let's start from the musical material that we are talking to. I think that what fascinates me the most is this kind of constant trying of human to give order to everything that surrounds him, but it will eventually fail. It will eventually fail every time, and I think that there is some kind of religious aspect to it that I think it's not really being necessary have to be expressed with some specific or proper religions, but it's kind of a way, an attitude, I would say, that I find in humanity. And so this kind of impossibility to be what human wants to be, even though if you look at the current times, I think that we are trying to extinct ourselves the fastest that we can. And so I find this kind of nonsense behavior like problematic, but at the same time that's our nature, and so we have to live with it in some way. And I find it really religious kind of. I mean, we always have to rely on something bigger than us and pretend that we have the control ourselves, but this is like just an excuse. I don't know if it was clear, but it's quite complicated to express it. But yeah,
it's part of the human nature to be complicated, so I totally agree about this. Your EP is not totally with raw vocals, but even with angelic vocals, and in some traits quite relaxing. I find this very interesting. What can you tell me about this?
Well, we didn't, as we do have actually different influences. We did not want to just have one kind of vocal style, mainly also to give to the listener some kind of rest to the ears, and also to increase the movement of the song, we could say, the spirit of the song. So with the first song, it was just me, but then we were thinking of adding also some external artists. And for example, the Opal Light song, which I was talking about before, I invited one of my friends, dearest friends, Julia. I met her in this choir where I was singing. We were always like thinking of playing something together, to do some project together, until the time when I invited her to this song, and she was very enthusiastic for it. So we gave a chance to the parts that she had in her mind, and they worked. So we were pretty happy to have also a female voice, we could say, in our EP. And then also, but still, that would be in the harsh vocal side, we had another guest artist, which is Eduardo. And we invited him also because we wanted to give to the song an extra layer of darkness and rage, and to provide more layers into the darkest feelings of the human. So we needed and we wanted an extra voice. So and for the other songs, it's just me, song with the cleans and the distortions. It's always me. But for the two songs, Eita with Edo and Opal Light with Julia.
Yeah.
And also a little spoiler, if I can. Yeah, I guess I can. Also for the next work, you could hear some kind of clean vocals, and could say angelic also.
Are you guys playing on tour?
I don't know if we can define this a tour properly, but no.
We have a bunch of shows, some which we can tell in Turin next Friday and the Friday after that. And also some other stuff, but I can't tell that.
Yes.
But it's not really a tour actually, because we have some some dates in the next months, but singularly.
But I guess the answer is that we would like to.
Of course, yes. That's one of the goals, which I be very exciting. But as now, just some individual shows here and there.
Yeah, and add something to finish this interview, something that you want to say to the public and people that are listening.
Yeah, listen to our EP. Yeah. Support us as you can.
Get back with any kind of feedback. I think it would be appreciated.
Look for us on the social media.
Bandcamp.
Spotify, YouTube.
And keep listening to independent music.
Yes.
And the music you like. Yes, definitely.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Just listen to this EP, guys, and I think that it's very interesting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, bye, guys. Bye, bye. And that's all for this episode of Deaf Bell Podcast. Subscribe, like, and share my videos, and click on the bell to be notified with new episodes. Spotify and Apple Podcast for the audio version, and Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to be updated with more news. See you soon, guys!